First reason I wish I was American and not Australian is your geography. Americans, your country is insane. The amount of variety you have within your borders. You want beach, desert, mountains, snow, forests. You have so much choice about where to live, where to holiday, so much variety. It makes me so jealous. Because I work remotely, if I lived in your country, I would just move with the seasons. I would winter in the Florida Keys, just living that beach lifestyle, snorkeling. I would have spring in southern Appalachia, just enjoying all that beautiful new green spring growth, probably like live in a cabin on one of the lakes that your country seems to have so many of. I'd have summer in the Pacific Northwest and enjoy all that gorgeous temperate rainforest, those beautiful sequoia trees. And in autumn, I think I'd go to New England and just enjoy like the color of the foliage. And to be able to do all of that in just one country blows my mind. I really hope you don't take it for granted. When I look online at your real estate, at like beautiful mountain forested properties in Appalachia, they cost absolutely nothing. It's incredible. The interior of my country, Australia, is unlivable. It's just desert. That's why every Australian lives on the coast. But the interior of your country seems to have mountains and forests. To have a beautiful cabin surrounded by trees in Australia is a luxury for the rich. But in your country, it seems like something any redneck can afford. Man, your country is so beautiful. Number 2, in America, you celebrate other people's success, and it's okay to be proud of your accomplishments. In Australia, if you become successful, you keep it to yourself. You don't brag. You're meant to actually be a little bit ashamed of it. Here we call it tall poppy syndrome, the idea that if one one poppy grows too high, everybody else wants to cut it down, so we're all equal. But I've heard that's not even unique to Australia. I had a guy in my Hey Hero request from Ireland say that it's the same way in his country. So maybe this is just how everywhere outside of the USA operates, this sort of exaggerated humility. And I get it, nobody likes someone who's excessively self-involved or cocky. But geez, I admire America. It just seems different. I like the way that you don't resent the success of others. You applaud, you celebrate, you become inspired by them. There's a celebration of achievement that I think psychologically is very healthy. It encourages and celebrates those who do great things instead of holding them back. Number 3, I really enjoyed the respect that you guys show for your military veterans. Now, up front, let me just admit that I do lean more like pacifist. So I do have mixed feelings about the military and how it's run. Of course, I'll concede that it's a necessary evil. It's just that, if there is a way to solve problems without violence, that tends to be where I focus. But I think it's really cool how in your country, you have families with proud military traditions that go back through generations. That respect for your veterans is really cool. And I get that on a governmental level, the system's not going to be perfect, but on a personal level, everyday citizens in America seem to honor the sacrifices made by war veterans, people who made that sacrifice to take up arms and serve their country. My 4th reason I wish I was an American is the commercial opportunities that exist inside your country. For businesses that scale, the opportunities are incredible. You have a population of 330 million people. They all speak English. Most of them have disposable income. There are so many potential customers in just one country. Australia only has 25 million people, and I think that the combined population of the 9 Western European countries is something like 200 million. And even then, it's complicated because all those countries have different laws and languages. In terms of a commercial market, America is just unrivaled. Now, it doesn't really matter if you're going to be like a doctor or a teacher or something, but if you have an idea for a product or a service, like a business that scales, America is the place that you want to be. Thank God for the internet, because with online products, I can sit here in Australia and still have American customers. And my 5th reason is diversity. I'm not talking specifically about racial diversity or diversity of sexual orientation. I'm talking about diversity of lifestyles, diversity of beliefs. Australia, by contrast, is pretty homogenous. Australians that you find in one city are going to be practically identical to Australians in another city. They're going to have similar beliefs, similar values. Divergent communities that differ from the mainstream here in Australia are pretty rare. That's not totally a bad thing, right? It makes things a bit boring perhaps, but it's safe, it's predictable. Sometimes boring is good. But for someone like me who has a bit of an adventurous streak, the diversity that exists inside your country really excites me. All in one country, you've got Orthodox Jews in New York, You've got cowboys in Montana. You've got Christians in Alabama, rednecks in Florida, farmers in Iowa, hippies in San Francisco, all this variation inside one country. And the fact that all of these different people with incredibly different perspectives on life can live within one country and feel united as Americans with respect for each other's freedom is extraordinary. It's a credit to you guys that you can feel a commonality in that and respect people's right to live in ways that you don't necessarily approve of or agree with. It serves as a model for the rest of the world for how societies could work, where we respect each other's differences. And I know that tensions are high in your country, I'm not blind, but it is a heck of a thing that America has managed to do, to unite so many different people under a set of ideas. It's incredible, and I hope that it succeeds because I really think the world needs it to succeed. As a young man in my early 20s trying to discover who I am and what my values are, I would have loved to have lived in America, where I could have traveled to all of these different communities and tried them out, learned about myself. Keep traveling, live in 50 different places until I found the one that felt right for me. In Australia, the choices are so much more limited. So there you have it, the 5 reasons why I wish I was American. However, for the sake of balance, I think it's only fair that I list the 5 reasons why I'm really glad I'm not American. Number 1, your money sucks. I'm not talking about the value of your currency. I'm talking about the actual physical dollar bills. They're terrible. It's all the same color. You can't tell them apart. They're made of paper. They get so crumpled and gross, and if you jump in the ocean for a swim and you forget you've got a 20 in your pocket, it's ruined. Australian money is so much better. It's made of polymer, so it's waterproof. It doesn't get all crumpled and crushed. It's got beautiful colors. You're instantly able to differentiate your money. I've got my wallet here. Let me show you. I've got, right, this is the 20. Beautiful, beautiful red. 50. And look how tough it is. It's strong. It's durable. Look at me showing off my AdSense money. Yeah. So yeah, Americans, your cash sucks. Let me put my money back. And while I'm doing that, let me tell you, what is this beautiful thing that I'm holding? Why, this is a card holder made of space grade aluminium that I now use thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Extra. This is my old wallet, which I no longer use because it's bulky and it's annoying. Not like this thing is slick. Watch this, I push here and all of my cards pop up. So convenient. I've got the tracker card, so if I lose my wallet, I can just call it on my phone. Watch this. But what if you lose your phone? That's okay, you just use your wallet to call your phone. This even has integrated RFID blocking, so you can't get your card skimmed. There's a reason why these guys have so many 5-star reviews. Look at this ratio. Their products are incredible. If you want a wallet like mine, it's simple. Just click on the description box below, and if you use code AG at checkout, you're going to get a 25% discount. Okay, let's get back to the other reasons why I'm glad I'm not an American. Number 2, your imperial system of measurement. I get it. It's been around for a long time. It's hard to change, you're used to it, maybe you even have a certain pride in it, but it sucks. The metric system is so much better. Number 3 is education. I spent 6 months going to an American high school and the standard was so low, it shocked me. No discipline from the students, no encouragement of creative thinking. Classes would consist of the teacher telling us our homework was to read chapters in a textbook, and then the assignments were to answer quiz questions about that chapter. I was legitimately appalled. What an incredible waste of time. The kids weren't stupid, but the school wasn't challenging at all. And I know that there's a whole debate going on in your country about what values schools should be teaching their children, but my objection wasn't based on that. It was just the academic standards. I couldn't believe how low they were. If I had children in your country, there's no way I'd be sending them to a public school. Quick reminder, if you want to see what I think is good education, check out my course, 100 Sides of Women. But now my 4th reason why I'm glad I'm not American, and that's religion. And I understand I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I hope that at the very least they respect my honesty. Now, here's the thing. Australia is not a particularly religious country. Even people who claim to be Christians rarely go to church. Mostly we're a country of atheists. Now, I know that that sounds really terrible to a lot of you Americans who think that that's awful, that there's no religion. Australia sounds like a godless place, a land without morals. And luckily for you, you live in America, so you're fine. You know, religion is big in your country. But please understand it from my perspective. As someone who is not religious, I'm glad I live in a society that makes its decisions through secular reasoning. It would scare me to live in a society where decisions are being made based off a religious text that I don't agree with to satisfy a God that I don't see any proof of. I'm not denying the incredible contribution that that Judeo-Christian values have had at the formation of so many of the Western values that I hold so dear. I'm more saying I don't want to encounter people who say things to me like, you need to do this because the Bible says so, or because it's going to annoy God if you don't. People like that scare me because I don't know what to say to them. I don't know how to reason with them. We're coming from just two completely different worlds and modes of thinking. And in case that last one wasn't controversial enough, let me finish off with my fifth reason why I'm glad I'm not American, and that is border control. This one blows my mind how this has ever become a partisan issue and is politically divisive in your country. People seem to be able to just enter your country illegally so easily, and maybe it's because Australia is an island nation and so our borders are a lot easier to control, but it's just incredible to me. If I met somebody on the street in my country and they told me that they had secretly snuck in, that they were here illegally, I would be outraged. You're not registered? The government doesn't know that you're here? I cannot understand why this issue is politically divisive in your country. It just seems like such common sense to me. You're not allowed to break the rules. You're not allowed to just sneak into countries and live outside the law. And this isn't about migration. Australia takes in a lot of immigrants every single year. It's how we keep our population up, and we take in refugees as well. So it's not about that. It's about the weird tolerance that so many people in America have to be like, yeah, let people in. They don't need to register. They don't need to tell the government. I think I heard that there are 11 million people in your country that have just snuck in illegally. Like a huge segment of your population, probably equal to Melbourne and Sydney combined. Just living their lives, wandering around the streets in a country they're not even registered to be in. And everybody seems to tolerate that as normal. I cannot understand it. But Alexander, you don't live in the United States. What right do you have to criticize our country? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I actually lived inside the USA. I lived in Tennessee for 6 months back when I was 17. I learned a lot about your country in those 6 months, and in the extended version of this video, I talk about my experiences there. So if you want this video to get a little bit more personal, you come over and check out the extended version. That's available on Patreon. What you see here on YouTube, these are always just the shortened, abridged versions. You want to see the full uncut versions of these videos, head over to Patreon.